Welcome, financial enthusiasts, to a special episode of The Fi Guys. Today we're diving deep into the remarkable life and wisdom of a financial luminary, the legendary Charlie Munger. Get ready to embark on a journey of a lifetime through one of the most brilliant minds in investing history.
We'll be unraveling the insights, celebrating the wit, and exploring some of our favorite quotes from the sage himself. I love that, the sage himself. I love that. Stay tuned as we honor his extraordinary life of Charlie Munger right here on The Fi Guys.
And let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So today, January 1st. Happy New Year's, by the way.
Happy New Year's. It is the first part of the year.
I hope we all made it. It is the first part of the year.
I hope we all made it too.
We all made it.
Yep.
I guess we got a bit morbid. But
that is very morbid.
today, January 1st, would have been Charlie Munger's 100th birthday today.
Yep.
Just think about that. Like, he's been around. When was he born? He was born
100 years ago.
Yeah.
So, 1924.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's a life.
He made it, what, like 2 weeks almost to his birth, to 100th birthday?
Yeah, it would have been close.
Wow.
Really close, yeah. Death comes for all of us in the end.
It does.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, we focus so much on Charlie Munger, and everyone knows Charlie Munger today as Warren Buffett's right-hand man. Warren Buffett's, vice president of Berkshire Hathaway. Mm-hmm. And he's known for that. But if we think about it, that was only the, basically second half of his life.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had a whole other half of his life that no one really talks about. They only talk about who was Charlie Munger after he met Warren Buffett. Mm-hmm. But he was his own man, and I would argue that he has a more fulfilling life than Warren Buffett has, mm-hmm. and is able to balance both business and his family and a few other things that hopefully we have the chance to get into. So today what I would like to do is go into who was Charlie Munger, mm-hmm. not just who was he at the end of his life, but who he was all the way through. In segment 2, I'd like to talk a little bit about some of our Mungerisms, right?
I love that.
Mungerisms. Some Charlie Munger quotes. We'll go over them together, and we'll discuss some of our favorite ones and what they mean to us and what we've learned from the sage himself. Because Charlie was so kind, just like Warren, in that he gave so much of the knowledge that they had to us so that we can learn from them in their over nearly a decade of wisdom.
Or a century.
Century, he says, yes. Yeah. A decade, centuries.
Yeah.
And nearly a century of wisdom that these men have accumulated, and they just give to us freely. Yeah. And that's awesome.
Yeah, a great man.
Yeah. A
really interesting man too. Mm-hmm. He was in the military.
He was.
A lot of people don't know that. He was in the military. He studied meteorology.
Yeah.
So bizarre.
It's crazy, but
very intellectual man though.
He was, and he was very committed to the pursuit of lifelong learning, and that's something I know that's very important to you. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. So Charlie Munger, just like we said, was born on January 1st, 1924, and he was actually born in Omaha, Nebraska.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Birth name Charlie Thomas Munger. And his father was Alfred Munger, who was a lawyer. And then his mom was Florence Munger, and she was a housewife. So she stayed home and raised the kids. Mm-hmm. So growing up, I'm sure Charlie had a very normal childhood, but which I think is kind of weird. It's kind of funny how circumstance happens. Yeah. But as a teenager, Charlie Munger's first job was actually at a grocery store called Buffett and Sons Grocery, who was actually owned by Warren Buffett's grandfather.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How about that? That's weird.
Yeah, they never met. They didn't meet at that time.
They didn't meet at that time, no.
No, but he worked at Warren Buffett's grandfather's place because Warren was also born in Omaha, Nebraska. So it's kind of weird that these two great men were both born in the same place, they're 2 years apart. I think Warren Buffett is now 89. So, maybe
or 98.
98.
Yeah.
So, they're only 2 years apart.
Yeah, they're close.
Pretty
interesting.
Crazy.
That's interesting.
It is. It's weird.
That is really weird, yeah.
And then, just like you said, in 1941, when he was 17 years old, Munger he left Omaha and enrolled in the University of Michigan, and he was going there to study math.
Interesting, math.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
He's a math guy.
He is.
But then only 2 years later, he actually ended up dropping out of school, and he joined the U.S. Army Corps, and he enlisted as a second lieutenant.
Nice.
During his scoring of the Army intelligence test, he scored so high that the Army basically said, we are going to send you to Caltech of Pasadena because we want you to study meteorology for the Army. He scored so well, they're like, we know you joined for this, but we need you to go do this.
Yeah.
That's just how intelligent he was.
That's impressive.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Yeah, I'd probably be like a infantryman.
Yeah, me too. To be like, we know where you're going, buddy.
This guy's going to the front lines. Get to the front. Yeah, Caltech. Not exactly for me, but
not an easy thing.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's really interesting, though. So really, a brilliant man.
Yeah, brilliant
from the start.
Yeah, from the start.
Yeah.
And he also, I'm sure, he had a good work ethic. I think that was a big thing. I couldn't find any reason why he left. Why he decided to drop out and join the military. I don't know why he made that decision, but I'm really glad that he did. Yeah. So he did a few years in the military, and then after he got out, he actually decided that he wanted to go to Harvard Law School because that's where his father graduated.
Oh, okay.
So he went ahead and applied to go to Harvard Law, but he was actually rejected from Harvard Law because he dropped out and didn't actually have an undergraduate degree.
Oh, yeah. So you have to have an undergraduate for.
Yeah, typically you have to have an undergrad to go to graduate school.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But he wanted to be a lawyer just like his dad, and he didn't have the undergrad degree. But due to happenstance and just the joy of life, a former dean, who actually was a friend of Charlie's father, went to the board on his behalf and intervened and actually got Charlie somehow admitted into the school, even though he didn't have an undergrad degree. And then Charlie went on to receive his degree summa cum laude, meaning with highest honors.
That's impressive. Once again, just flaunting that brainial muscle, very smart. Yeah, it just shows, it's good to have good connections.
It does, but it also shows me like just how many people are we kind of like leaving behind who never had that opportunity like him? How many people are just as smart as Charlie Munger that didn't have the right opportunities? But I think that's kind of a beautiful thing too, and that we create our own luck, right?
Yeah.
Luck is just having the right circumstances and the right knowledge at the right time.
Yep.
And Charlie was very lucky in that regards that there was someone there to bat for him. But I'm sure had he not been accepted in, he would have just gone back, got his undergraduate degree, and then came back later.
Very persistent. He seems to be very persistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the quotes that I absolutely love. Is just make your own luck.
Yep.
I love that.
So after Charlie graduated in 1948, he was actually a very successful lawyer before becoming the Sage of Omaha. So from 1948 to 1965, Charlie Munger ran his own
law firm,
yeah.
Which is not an easy feat to do.
No, I couldn't imagine.
No, not at all. That's impressive, though. That's very impressive. So I think it's beautiful that a person can have two lives.
Oh, multiple lives.
3 or 4 lives. Like, and I'm not talking about different families. Again. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about like how you can be so successful in being a lawyer, and he worked there for like 20 years, really. So it put him in his 40s, and then start a whole new career in finance. I mean, he studied math, so the finance was always there. But it's just so beautiful that you can always start over and pivot. Yeah, I love that. I think that's one of the beautiful things about America is that you can, if you want change, you can make change.
Yeah.
I like that.
That is really, really cool. So many people think like I am who I am and it's going to be stagnant for the rest of the life. But through one of the biggest things I learned through Charlie is you can continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to get better. And you never know where that's going to take you just through serendipity. So let's bring Warren Buffett into the picture.
Okay.
So in 1959, Charlie Munger actually met Warren Buffett at a dinner in their hometown of Omaha.
Interesting. Question.
Yeah.
Was it a buffet?
A buffet
for the Buffetts? Dude, if my last name was Buffett, I would only have buffet dinner parties.
I don't think it was Warren Buffett's dinner party, though.
Damn.
Who knows, though?
That's a missed opportunity.
But a quote from Warren Buffett at the time, he said, about 5 minutes into getting to know Charlie was that sort of person who had me rolling on the floor at his own jokes and had me rolling on the floor from his jokes.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
So after they met, the two stayed in touch. And then Warren Buffett, it was actually his advice that he told Charlie, he's like, you're smart enough to not do this lawyer stuff. It's too easy for you. You should come and invest with me.
Yep.
So he continued to tell him, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And then it wasn't until 1965, so how many years was that? That would have been like 6 years, until Charlie finally like listened to Warren and he broke him down enough to be like, fine, I'll leave being a lawyer and do this investment stuff. So from 1962 to 1975, Charlie started his own business, which is called Wheeler, Munger and Company, which is an investment counseling firm. That was kind of his transition from being a lawyer to becoming the investor that we know Charlie to be.
Interesting. So what would that be in like today's era? Because I know they don't really call them counseling firms anymore. Is that like a financial planner basically?
I have no idea, but I would assume kind of like a financial planner. But my guess is he would probably be working with like higher net worth people than like what I do.
Okay.
And then Warren Buffett became CEO of Berkshire Hathaway in 1965. And then he finally convinced Munger another 13 years later to become vice president in 1978. So you can kind of see how long this time has been. And then from there, they became the dynamic duo that we know them for today.
Yep. I think it's so interesting. Both of these men share in common is persistence, you know, and the dog agrees too.
Yeah, the dog does agree.
We did tell the dog before the podcast, if you need to chime in on any good points,
just let us know.
Give us a hoot, give us a bark. So, persistence is key. I mean, just on this time frame, I mean, this is what so far like a 20-year friendship in a sense. That's cool. I mean, just convincing and
kind of showing him. But I mean, look at how much Warren just kind of brought into Charlie's life by like convincing him, and not just saying like one time, hey, you should leave this lawyer stuff because it's too easy for you and come and do this investing stuff, but he persisted with it. And eventually that persistence led to him becoming the chairman or the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, and then became that dynamic duo that they are. But Charlie is really one of the things that's most responsible for Berkshire Hathaway's success.
Really? Okay.
Before Charlie came over, Warren Buffett was working on this last cigar buff, Benjamin Graham style of investing. Basically, we're buying these companies that are like about to die, and you're trying to get the last puff of the cigar out of them, if you ever heard that analogy. But it was Charlie that convinced Warren that it's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price.
Yeah. And I like, there's another quote. It was either him or Warren that came up with it. And it's like, we want a company that's so easy to understand and run that idiots could run them. And then we replace them with good people and smart people. And I always love that. Yeah. That's really smart.
It was during one of Warren Buffett's shareholder letters in 1989 that just that thought of we want to buy good companies at a fair price than a fair company at a good price. That he said that Charlie understood this early and convinced him, but Warren was slow to learn it.
Gotcha.
So it was actually Charlie that completely changed the trajectory of Berkshire Hathaway and the investment selection that they do through his knowledge and his ability to see the long-term view.
Yeah. Who knows what the company would have been like?
Yeah, without him.
Yeah, without him.
Yeah.
It definitely wouldn't have been what it is today.
No, I really doubt that Charlie and Warren would be household names had it not been for them teaming up together.
No, because I just don't see him getting into their big investments, like Geico, Dairy Queen, stuff like that, because those are great companies.
Yeah. You have to remember, like even Berkshire Hathaway itself, it was a textile company that Warren purchased, and it was Warren's like biggest flop. Like he thought this was going to work out, and it was just the biggest fail. Because he was trying to buy distressed companies, and there's a reason they're distressed.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can change them, I can turn them around, I can make them better. It wasn't until Charlie came in and said, why don't we just make this easier? Why don't we just actually purchase good companies and just hold them for the long term and just be patient.
Yeah, one thing about Charlie Munger that I really appreciate is in this world, we oftentimes like to take the hard path, but Charlie Munger didn't always believe in that. He preferred the easy path. And I think that's one of those things for like an entrepreneur in today's like environment. It's kind of like, we don't take the easy path. We take the hard path because we want to be stronger. It's like, you don't always have to take the hard path. There's times when you can become stronger from a situation, and there's times where you need a win. And taking the easy path is the right path. And I think just showing in his success in multiple fields and in multiple, commas on his net worth.
Many commas.
Many commas. Taking the easy path is not always the bad thing. Depending, I'm not saying go smoke a cigarette. But like, it's just, he's a different kind of entrepreneur, and I can respect that.
Yeah, patience
and persistence.
So how about we get into some Mungerisms?
I love this. Give me some Mungerisms.
So I say I always go quote by quote, and then we'll just kind of talk about them.
I love that.
First quote that I just love Charlie Munger is, go to bed smarter than when you woke up.
Interesting. What do you think he meant by that?
I think he means every day you should basically be trying to learn something new. You should basically take the quote for what it is. It's go to bed. Every night that you go to bed, you should be smarter than you were the morning of. A lot of watching interviews with Charlie's grandkids, they basically would call Charlie a book with legs. So all that man, every day he would wake up, crack open books, and just read and read and read and learn and learn and learn. And that's the reason he was such a good investor. It wasn't that he was the smartest thing and the smartest person in any one domain, but he was damn smart in a lot of domains.
He was very smart.
But that he was so good and versatile and being able to know so many different things. He was able to see how the world all interconnected. What's that old Miyoda Musashi quote?
The way of fight. Once you see the ways
in some things.
In some things, you see it in all things.
Yeah. So he was able to know that and be able to see all of this knowledge, how they all interconnect, and be able to look at businesses and value them, basically all in his head. Yeah. Warren and Charlie, they were both able to like read a 10K from a business and then be like, this is how much this company is worth, just because they know so much. Dude. That's something that not even AI can do.
No, I think there's some things that you just got to learn, and some things that can't be taught. I don't know how much of what they did really was unteachable, but they got their names. The Oracle and the Sage. Yep. They earned it.
Yeah, I think it is teachable. It's just we all are like, we want to learn right now. Like, give me the secret right now. And I think things like this, it just takes time. Nearly a century. Of him. I mean, he probably wasn't learning when he was like 3, but like for the time that he could learn, I was assuming that he was learning as much as he possibly could, and he kept that going from as soon as he could till the day that he died. I mean, I listened to an interview of Charlie that was done just a few weeks prior to his death, and man,
sharp as a whip.
He was smarter than I am, faster than I am at 99 years old. Yeah, it's incredible.
And I truly believe that it's because of the learning. He never stopped going to the mental gym.
Yep,
he never stopped. It'd be like, imagine if you ate healthy your whole life. Imagine if you always went to the gym every day. That's him mentally, and he lived a beautiful life. So getting on to the next quote. This one, stay tuned. In my whole life, I have known no wise people who didn't read all the time. None. Zero.
Yep.
Always be reading.
Always be reading.
Always be reading.
It goes back to the same quote, right? Like, go to bed smarter than the way you woke up.
Exactly.
And one of the best ways to learn is through reading. Like, so many people have taken the time to distill their wisdom down into a book that you can go through the School of Hard Knocks. You can go through and like, how do I start a business? How do I do all these things? Or you can read a book and learn from some people that have done it already and are here to tell you exactly how to do it.
Yeah, I've recently I was watching a video recently, and it was saying that there's 3 forms of learning. You can either learn by listening, by reading, or by doing. And finding out which one that you are really helps. I know for me, I learn best by doing. I know you probably learn best by hearing. You go off. I love this. This is one of my favorite things about Chris. I've said it before, but he's listening to podcasts all the time. He's listening to books all the time on Audible books and stuff like that at like 4x speed, just downloading it like Tony Stark style. And I love that about you. That's one of my favorite attributes of your world that I'm trying to adopt more of. But yeah, no, I mean, always be learning.
Yeah.
Always be learning.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn.
And that's one of the most frustrating things, right? Is like, you can learn. I saw this quote, I saw this like pie graph once, and it just blew my mind. And it's a pie graph, it's a big pie graph, and there's this tiny sliver, maybe like 0.1%, and it said, things that I know.
Yeah.
And then there's a tiny sliver right next to it that says, things that I know, I don't know. And then the rest, the 99% of it says, things I don't know, I don't know.
Yep.
And that just blew my mind of like, there's so much knowledge. I know there's so much knowledge out there that I don't have access to, and it frustrates the heck out of me because I want all of it. I know. But I can't.
It's like you wish you could like freeze time and just absorb it all.
To kind of go back to what you just said, the next quote that I really like is, the game of life is a game of everlasting learning, at least if you want to win. Yeah, I don't think we need to talk much more about that, but it really is just every day, continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to get better. I think so many people, they think that they have a fixed mindset. Who I am is who I am, and I can't improve on that. But I mean, from learning from Charlie, from learning from Warren, if you want to learn from me, like a lot of the things are, you have to get over that belief, because that belief is limiting.
Yeah.
And life is not to be put limits on. You can continue outside of the rules of physics.
Yeah.
You can do pretty much anything.
You could do anything, you could be anything. You can learn anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just takes time, it takes commitment.
It does. Getting on to the next quote. The big money is not in the buying and selling, but in the waiting. Mm-hmm. I like that.
That kind of comes in. That's exactly what he taught, what Charlie taught Warren is.
Mm-hmm. That's our whole philosophy.
It's a whole philosophy. We buy a good company at a fair price, and we hold it. And we just keep it.
Yeah.
So many people think in order to be a good investor, I need to be constantly buying and selling and doing all this stuff and making all these different trades. And you know who that makes good money for? It makes good money for the brokers and for the finance people. It doesn't make money for you, the long-term investor.
Yeah. I like Warren. One of Warren's rules for investing is if you had a punch card of 10 punches, you can only choose 10 stocks for your whole life. You choose them pretty wisely. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't choose this penny stock pump and dump type stuff.
Yeah, you wouldn't be like GameStop and
all
these other things.
No. Yeah, no, you wouldn't do that. You pick them very carefully.
Yep, and that's exactly how they run their company. I mean, that's why they have very, very low turn. They just keep the companies for a very long time.
Yeah. You know what I think would be really fun is for us to do, I don't know if this would be a podcast thing, but I think it would be really fun for us to have a punch card and choose our 10 stocks for life.
Oh, that'd be fun.
If
I had to choose one stock, it'd probably be Berkshire.
And that's a great.
If I couldn't choose an ETF, I would rather choose an ETF, obviously, because that owns all the companies. So that's not really fair.
That's not fair.
I would choose Berkshire because Berkshire basically is a single stock that is a conglomerate. So it kind of is an index. It's an individual stock with an index.
That's true.
That's what I would choose.
That's true. Would you choose any dividend stocks? No need.
Not right now. Not at this point in my life. Okay. Right now, I'm all more about growth. Than dividends.
Fair.
I mean, there's a reason that Charlie and Warren have never paid out dividends is because they believe that they can use the money more efficiently than giving it back to the shareholder. Despite how many people have complained and said we want dividends, They're just nope, we're going to do what we're going to do.
Yeah. You think the new
Todd and Ted? I don't know. I don't know. I worry about that. I'm very worried that Warren's going to go very shortly after Charlie's going to kind of old married couples kind of like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I worry about those things, but I'm just thankful for the wisdom that they've given to us over these years.
Yeah, it's important to appreciate people while they're still here.
Yeah.
Even, family members, people, pets, everything.
Yep. Next quote I really like is from Charlie. I did not intend to get rich. Yep. I just wanted to get independent.
Yep. I love that.
Yep. So he wasn't seeking wealth. He wasn't seeking power. All he wanted was control of his time. And I'm sure what he wanted more control of his time to do is to continue to learn and get better. And that learning and get better is what brought more money. He was just pursuing his passions. He wasn't trying to become rich. He just became rich because he loved doing what he was doing. And he gave it enough time for that to eventually take hold.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically at the core of our podcast. Yep. We just want our independence.
Yep.
We just want financial independence.
Yeah, I think so many people when they hear FIRE, when they hear FI and financial independence, they think oh yeah, I just want to live on that beach and do nothing. And I can tell you from personal experience, you can only do that for so long before you fall into a very deep depression because you need to have purpose. You need to have drive. You need to do something. So that's what I hope people, as they listen to our podcast, they're not trying to escape work so they don't have to work anymore. They're trying to escape the drudgery of the 9-to-5 job, so that they can eventually get to a point that they can pursue what they love and love what they do. That's what true financial independence is. It's working because you get to work, not because you have to work.
Yeah. It's gold. I mean, I hope you guys use it. I really do. I think knowledge, like you said last podcast, knowledge without action is just entertainment.
And that's okay to be entertained, but that means that at some point you need to be ready to dive in. I mean, I've listened to, before I even started my business, before I did everything, I listened to a decade of me just absorbing information, not doing anything with it, because I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And then eventually when I finally got ready and my mind, I finally figured out my mind enough, got rid of my limiting beliefs, got rid of my fears, and just threw caution to the wind and went for it.
Yeah.
I had all that knowledge built up, and then I had to put it into action. But at some point, I had to put it into action.
Yeah.
So for those 10 years, it was entertainment until I was ready to take the action.
Most people take 10 years to make action, and it's crazy.
What was that Seneca quote I said last time? The one thing all fools have in common is that they are getting ready to start.
Yep. Damn, that's a quote. That's a quote right there. Getting on to the next quote from, or our Mungerisms.
Mungerisms.
I love that. Is that yours?
No, there was a book called Mungerisms.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I stuck it.
Okay, I like that. How to find a good spouse. The best single way is to deserve a good spouse.
Yeah. So that was from one of during the Berkshire Hathaway meetings. Basically, any investor can go up there as long as you own either an A or B share and ask Warren or Charlie any question you want. And they were so gracious in that they would sit there for
like 7 hours.
Yeah, hour. Like 90 years old, they would sit there and just answer questions. So that was one of the questions someone asked: is how do you find a good wife? How do you find a good spouse? And I'm sure Warren gave a very long, drawn out answer, and then Charlie just looked at him and said, "The best way is to deserve a good spouse."
Yep.
And I think about that all the time. So many people are looking for how do I make more money? How do I find a good spouse? How do I do all these things? How do my kids like me?
Yeah.
It's by being a good partner. It's by showing up to work. It's by being a good parent.
Yeah.
Be deserving of those things, and they will come to you. But there are no quick fixes. You have to put in the freaking work.
You got to put in the work. Yep. I love that. So the next quote.
Yeah, the next quote is, I really like this. I think this is funny. Envy is a really stupid sin because it's the only one you could never possibly have any fun with. There's a lot of pain and no fun. Why would you want to get on that trolley?
I love that trolley. That's cute. Yeah, it's true.
It is true. I mean, so many people, we compare our insides to other people's outsides. And we look at them when we say, well, look at all the things they have and look at all the things that they want. I want all those things, and how dare they? And they must have stolen from somebody else in order to have it.
Yeah.
And just like Charlie says, that's a really bad way to look at it, and you get no joy from that. I mean, shoot, the other 7 deadly sins of lust, gluttony, at least you get something fun out of those.
Yeah.
You get to eat a lot, you get to have sex or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But with envy, it's all sadness. It's all comparing yourself to other, and comparison really is the thief of joy.
Yeah, and you don't know what it took for those people to get what they got.
You don't know what sacrifices they had to make. You can have anything you want,
but you can't have
everything.
But you can't have everything.
I think about that, especially Elon Musk. Would you trade your life with Elon Musk right now? You get to have all of his nearly billions of dollars. You get to have all of that, but you also get to have 11 ex-wives, 14 estranged kids. Yeah. You basically never get to sleep. You're always stressed out.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I would take that trade.
No. Yeah. So I wouldn't want to trade my life with anyone. I like my life.
I like my life too.
Yeah.
And then again, that's the hard part. Is you're comparing your insides to their outsides. We don't know what their life is. You just only know what they
show you.
What they share. And especially in social media nowadays, that's why so many people are so sad. You're looking at these people's perfectly curated lives that they're putting in front of you. Yeah. And you're comparing all the drudgery and sad things that you have, and only you know what's going on internally. So
true.
Mm-hmm. But I know for my life, I love my life, and I don't want to change that. Could things be better? 100%. And that's why I always say, pleased but never satisfied. I'm happy with my life, but there can always be more.
I love it.
And that's what kind of drives me.
Getting on to the next quote in our Mungerism series. There's no better teacher than history in determining the future. There are answers worth billions of dollars in $30 books. I like that. Yeah. $30 history books, I might add.
Yeah, so many people that are trying to constantly look towards the future and say, what's going to happen, what's going to do this, but, we never really know what the future holds. But what we can do is we can always look back and see what was the same, because things are always the same. People are always the same.
People and their habits, they don't often change.
Yep. There's a book by Morgan Housel that I recently read. It's called "Things Don't Change" or "No Things Change," something like that. It's a very new book. Okay. But in the book, he was talking about they found this letter from this guy who was writing about what was going on in the minds of people during the Great Depression. Mm-hmm. And Morgan found that if you take these guys' journal writings and you apply them to the COVID pandemic during 2020 and you apply them to 2008, it was the exact same things. Huh. And then the crazier thing was that this guy who wrote this back in when was the Great Depression? 1930s?
Yeah, 1929.
29, something like that. When he was writing this, he talked about another depression that happened 10 years or 20 years earlier that everyone was doing the exact same thing. Huh. So we're repeating the same patterns over and over and over again. There's just new catalysts, and we all keep on saying, well, this time is different. Yeah. And we've been saying that forever. It's the same exact thing, repeated. Yeah.
There's only so many emotions humans can have. Yeah. And it's happened all before. Yeah. Yeah, it's all happened before. You got the next one?
You want me to?
Yeah, is that one?
I think that is mine, huh?
Yeah.
Acquire worldly wisdom and adjust your behaviors accordingly. if your new behavior gives you a little temporary unpopularity with your peer group, then to hell with them.
I think that's more prevalent now than ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that, we look for wisdom, we find wisdom, and we want to apply that to our life. And I think there's a lot of people that drag you down because they don't want you to be better than them. That's why it's so important that you are the aggregate of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
So to surround yourself with good people, and if you're trying to do something good and people are trying to stop you, get those people out of your life. There's another one. I didn't grow up in like the greatest of environments, and when I was trying to better myself as a young person, there were people that would like make fun of me and like try to fight you because you were trying to read books and you were trying to get better. And unfortunately that was the environment I was in, and I kind of thought that's what it is. Like, you trying to be better was a bad thing. And I think it was a bad thing because other people knew that you were going to succeed and they wanted to stop you. They wanted to hold you back with them.
Yeah. Interesting. Damn, that's crazy.
Get rid of those people.
Yeah, you gotta cut the fat off the bone. You can't have negative people around.
Yeah, and again, it might make you a little unpopular for a little while, but
popularity is,
who cares?
It's not a real thing.
It's not a real thing, and like everyone likes to say like, oh, I want to be an actor, I want to do these things, and everyone's going to talk mad shit and say like, oh, you can't do it. But the moment you're successful, guess what? Those same people are going to come around and be like, I knew you were going to make it the whole time. I was supporting you the whole time.
Yeah, like there's this picture I saw online. It was like there's a crowd on one side and one person on the other, and it was like the support. There's just one person.
Yeah.
And the congratulations. It's just a crowd of people.
Yeah.
They'll always congratulate you, but they won't support you.
Yep. People love to tear people down.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Let's see. Which one are we on?
We
spend each day?
No, we all.
All right. We all are learning. We all are learning, modifying, and destroying all the ideas all the time. Rapid destruction of your ideas when the time is right is one of the most valuable qualities you can acquire. You must force yourself to consider arguments on the other side. That's fair.
I think this is probably one of the biggest issues I see today is people become infatuated with their beliefs, and they believe that their beliefs are them, and they must defend their beliefs, and then they can't even change it when new information is presented. If there's one thing you take away from this today, it's you are not your beliefs. Your beliefs need to change as the world changes.
Yeah.
For a long time, when I was a kid, I thought that chocolate milk came from brown cows because I saw a commercial for that. Eventually, I flip-flopped and I figured out, oh wait, no, they're just add chocolate to it. But had I just said like, no, this is my belief and I'm sticking with it because I thought it right now, and I come through 30 years of thinking that chocolate milk comes from brown cows, just because that's what I thought, that would just be a terrible way to live life. You have to update your life as new information presents itself.
Yeah, and it's like, not very many people would take you seriously.
No. But think about politicians. Think about all these things that when you go back and you say like, hey, I was wrong about this. Everyone now is like, oh, he's a flip-flopper.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you want these people. You always want to grow. You want to learn. You want to say, hey, I was wrong. I thought this, and I came to the realization that I was wrong.
Yeah. I think it's definitely like, it's one thing in politics to like make a promise and not keep it, or go like the total opposite. But like you said, like change is good. Like it's good, and honestly, we need more of it.
Yep.
We need more of it. There's nothing wrong with changing your ideas.
Yeah, you need people that take responsibility for it too. Like, hey, this is what I thought, and these are the reasons I thought it, and this is what I learned that made me think something different. I do this constantly. I mean, especially in my advisor business, there's so many people that like ask me questions. I recently had one of my clients say, hey, I'm thinking about a reverse mortgage for my house, and in my immediate thought as from an advisor was like, no, don't do that. Reverse mortgage, bad. And I had to look into it more, and I'm updating my thoughts on that because I'm willing to learn for my clients, and I want to learn and get better. That comes to another part is from Warren Buffett, from Charlie, the biggest thing I took is invert, always invert. So whenever you're trying to think of an argument, take the opposite side. And that's the best way to really see, do you have an ironclad argument? Do you really know what you're talking about? Because if you can't argue the other side, you don't know jack about what you think you know.
Absolutely. And like going off that invert point in Charlie's life, one thing that I took back from it was like, what would it take for me to destroy my business? What would it take for us to destroy this podcast, right? Put out misinformation, not post often, terrible quality, right? And then flip it. It's like, okay, well, let's do the exact opposite. Let's put out the best information. Let's put out the most videos. Let's put out the highest quality podcasts. And that's how you, rather than destroying your business, that's how you made it successful. And I love that.
I was talking actually because when I was doing these, I was getting these show notes ready. I was talking to a friend about it, and we were talking about fitness. And I was like, invert, always invert. If you don't want to be healthy, you know what to do. We're going to eat candy all day. We're going to be sedentary. We're not going to move. We're just going to eat crap. So let's do the opposite. Let's try to move a little bit. Let's try to eat healthy food, and let's try to just do a little bit of exercise. Like, just invert. You know what the opposite is. You know what you don't want to do. Just do the opposite of that, and you're going to get what you want to be. If you want to be a better spouse, I probably shouldn't. If I wanted to be a bad spouse, then I'm going to show up drunk. I'm going to beat my wife. I'm going to destroy the house. I'm
going to cheat.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat. So I know, don't do those things.
Don't do those things. Yeah.
Just invert it the other way.
Love your wife.
Yeah.
Don't come home drunk and don't cheat.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just try to be a good person.
Try to be. It's guys. If you're, I doubt any of you are like here being a bad person. If you've gotten this far into the podcast about Charlie Munger, and you're a bad person, I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
Me too.
But
so we got 2 more quotes. These two are a little bit longer. We've heard the first part of this already, but spend each day trying to get a little wiser than you were when you woke up. Discharge your duties faithfully as well. Systematically, you will get ahead, but not necessarily at fast spurts. Nevertheless, you build discipline by preparing for fast spurts. Slug it out 1 inch at a time, day by day. At the end of the day, if you live long enough, most people will get what they deserve.
Yep. And it goes back to like their whole life's philosophy. It's just waiting, staying in the game, waiting things out, seeing how things will play out. And I just love that. I love these guys are the epitome of like the long game.
They're the epitome of the tortoise.
Yeah, they are the tortoise.
They are the tortoise.
They are the tortoise, yeah.
And I just love the biggest things I take from that quote specifically is that you have to get systematic. It's not about having the right knowledge. It's the systems. It's the habits. And you can't be expecting once you implement these systems and the habits to come right now.
Yeah.
And to be like, I want this right now. You have to be prepared for fast spurts. You have to be prepared with your discipline, with everything that you put in every day. But if you live long enough and you continue to do that, success will find you. Yep. Money will find you. All the things that you want in life will find you if you're willing to put in the work every single day. There is no quick fixes. I cannot stress that enough.
Yep.
There are no quick fixes in life.
No. Damn. You tell me I blew $30 on my Ab Blaster 3000?
Ab Blaster 3000. All I had to do was make 3 payments of $9.99.
$9.99 for the next 6 years.
And I acted fast, so I got 2.
Bro, I got the free shipping.
I say we get to the last quote. Would you want to read that one?
I'll read that. Yeah, I got this one. It's such a simple idea. It's the golden rule, so to speak. You want to deliver to the world what you want to buy if you are on the other end. There is no ethos, in my opinion, that is better for any lawyer or any person to have. By and large, the people who have this ethos win in life. And they don't just win money, nor just honors. They win respect, the deserved trust of the people that they deal with, and the huge pleasure in life to be obtained from getting the deserved trust. That's nice.
Yeah, so I think this is what we talked about earlier about like if we wanted to grow this podcast, or there's so many people that put out disinformation that just try to constantly stir up negativity.
Yeah.
If you want to grow your company on the long term, you want to be good, you put out good information, you try to be as positive as you can, you want to bring people back for the good that you put into the world. And while you might not, while other people who put out bad information who lead people astray, they might win on the short term. That's not the game we're playing. That's not the game that you should play. The game that we should play is how can we keep this sustained life in the best way, because we want to live in heaven, not in hell.
Yeah, got that right. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. I think those are some wonderful quotes from a wonderful guy.
Yeah, and so thank you to Charlie Munger for all the wisdom that you did. I mean, I respect Warren, I respect Charlie, but I mean, I think that Charlie has really made a much more large impact on me in my life than Warren ever did. But you know,
and not to compare, it's
Not
just
to
who
compare
you
them.
looked up to more and how they. It's the way they live their life too.
the way they live their life.
I mean, you know, I don't see, you know, because Warren, you know, McDonald's and Coke every day. It's like that's just not who you are.
Well, I mean, Charlie wasn't the greatest in like health wise either. It's kind of crazy, you know. They both these gentlemen, they're in their late 90s, and you know, I know that we're really big into like biohacking and like longevity and all these other things. But these gentlemen have kind of showed us that you could eat McDonald's in a case of Coke every day. You know, the best way to burn calories is actually to think and to think constantly. I remember when I was, I think in college, we took a test, and then after the test, my teacher like gave everyone like one of those little like Snickers bars, a little tiny one. She said, each one of you in doing this test has burnt around this Snickers bar. So here is to replenish. So we don't think about it, but like the mind, our brain as it thinks, it's really processing more information than what we can probably burn every day they're working out. So these guys stayed young, not by physically like getting after it, but by mentally getting after it every single day.
Interesting. Do you think, I'm curious on your thoughts on this, do you think this is why like you see like nerds who are always skinny?
Probably, yeah. You know? They're just always thinking.
They're always thinking their brain is just using more power, so they're always thin.
Maybe.
Just thought about that.
Maybe that's why I'm chunky. Maybe I need to start thinking more. Maybe I need to think more.
We need to think more.
Maybe just start playing chess. You know, when I got into chess really big when I was in high school, me and my friends would play chess. I remember like sitting there and just sweating. Yeah. Like sweating bullets as you're playing chess. Also because you're nervous, because you're like, I don't want to lose. Yeah. But like your brain is going so hard. Chess is it.
Chess is it.
Chess is where it's at.
Did you do your workout today? He's just like sitting here thinking thoughts. Like, I can float, I can rise. No, that's yeah.
I think maybe that's one of the reasons I meditate every day. It's maybe because it's so funny. When you meditate, my goal is to not think. And like to not think is even harder than thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I wonder how many calories I'm burning trying not to think.
It's true. Yeah, I feel like there's not a good way to count, at least not that I know of, how many calories your brain is burning. I guess because if you do like the watch, it's based off heart rate, and it's just not the same. I don't
know. Well, as we get into our bonus segment,
yes,
we have some time.
Let's do it.
So, welcome to 2024. I really think that this year is, especially at this time of the year, it's a time for reflection on the last year. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about everyone's current work situation. So I really think in 2024, this is going to be a really tough year for employees. Yeah. You know, there's rising interest rates, inflation is still high, tighter labor market, cost of goods, even though inflation has decreased recently, is remaining elevated. Yeah. So it might be a good time, like we've talked about a few times here, to start a business this year. Yeah. You know, we started our own businesses. I can tell you there's no things more rewarding than your own business and being able to wake up so excited. I'm not telling you quit your job. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying start a business as a side hustle, something like that, and you never know where it's going to go. Yeah. So I wrote down some questions and things that I'd like you to ponder to say maybe it's time for a new business, maybe it's time to make a change to my job. Who knows? Let's just kind of go down the list. So the first question that I would ask you is, how much money did you make this year, and was it enough?
Yeah. Do you want me to read the second one?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
What positive memories stand out for you? What memories make you cringe or feel regret?
I think that's really important. Every year you should look back and say, like, these were the things that made the most for me. These are things I regret. I think if you do that enough, you're going to see that the memories that you did like are the memories you did with other people. Mm-hmm. Things that you cringe at are the things that you spent money on that you like didn't deserve or you didn't really want. Yeah. Or things that you just feel bad about, and like because you were an asshole, you treated someone poorly. Mm. You would not want to tell someone that you did these things.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's okay you made those mistakes, but let's learn from them and not do it again. Yeah. Third question. Was your work fulfilling? Does the time you spent at work last year feel worth it to you?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times you're just going in to cash a paycheck, really.
So many people, like I said, the reason most people pursue financial independence is because they don't want to work anymore. And it's not that they don't want to work anymore. They don't want to work where they are anymore.
They just don't like their job.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Number 4, are you happy with the way you spent money last year? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know a lot of people not happy with it.
Nope. Yeah, they regret it. They look back and they're like, I don't even know where the money went.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I know I made X amount of dollars. It's like, where is it?
Where does it all go?
You know, I know we went to fast food a lot of Amazon purchases. We really didn't even go on like a bunch of vacations, stuff like that. It really adds up.
Yeah, and this time of the year, January is the year that we get rid of me and my wife, we do a packing party, which let's talk about that real quick. A packing party is on day 1. So today we're going to get rid of 1 item in the house. Day 2, we're getting rid of 2 items in the house. Day 3, 3 items. Day 4, 4 items, so on and so forth. By the end of, how many days are in January? 31, I think?
31?
31. So by the end of...
Wait, on the 31st day, you're getting rid of 31 things? Mm-hmm. No, wait, what?
Yeah.
You have 31 things to get rid of?
Yeah, dude. So it's a good way to like kind of build your way up into it and getting rid of things. Like you can count how you want. Maybe like one sock is an item, another sock is an item. But,
okay, that's fair.
You can go through and like find articles of paper, like all this kind of.
I could get rid of a lot.
And get rid of stuff. And by the end of those 31 days, you actually get rid of like 500 some odd items out of your house. Yeah, I like this year in January, I'm going to be going to Goodwill like every day and just dropping stuff off.
Dang, that's
so packing party. That's what it's called. Minimalism, real big thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I like that.
Next thing, number 5. How do you feel about how much money you have in the bank right now?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with it? Is it enough? Is it not enough? I would also extend this from just bank account to also your investments.
Yes.
Like, how do you feel about those things? But the reason I say bank account is because if you do want to make a full pivot and like quit job, go 100%, do you have enough money to make it for a little while? Because I can tell you most businesses are not bringing in the cash for some time. It takes a while. That's why I recommend not burning the boats and just going for it.
Yeah.
Stay at your job and work this side hustle on your weekends, on your nights. It's going to be work. I understand that.
Yeah. And as someone who started a business, the first business always fails.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put the mojo on you or anything like that, but don't come in with it thinking that's like, I'm going to be Jeff Bezos tomorrow. Like, no. It's like, there's a lot of work. It's very rewarding. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. You're going to fail, you're going to succeed. But you got to stay in it long enough to see the seeds that you're sowing.
Yeah, and I don't know if your first business will fail. My first business did not fail, but I was also willing to not give up.
True. I think for me, my first business, I lost the passion for it. It wasn't who I was anymore.
And that's cool. And that's cool.
And I just had to pivot. Yeah, I had to pivot, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. It's cool.
It's cool.
Gotta go.
And what's number 6 for us, Don?
Number 6, what would you like to be different in 2024?
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
That's true.
You need to spark that change. If you want something different for your life this year, it starts with you. There's no one coming to save you.
Yep.
I say it every podcast.
Yep.
There's no one coming to save you.
You gotta save yourself, son. You got this. You do.
And we're here to support you. Just continue to tune into the Fi Guys. We're here to give you as many resources as we possibly can. We've already done, I think we did a podcast on side hustles, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We might have to do another one.
Maybe. We have a lot of different things. So I say we close out, and we'll see you guys on Friday. So thank you, fellow financial explorers, for joining us on an insightful journey into the world of financial independence with the Fi Guys. And thank you to Charlie Munger for all the sage wisdom you gave us so freely. You will surely be missed. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and like and review for more. Your feedback fuels our passion for delivering valuable content. Until next time, keep chasing your financial goals, stay curious, and remember, financial independence is not just a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Stay Fi, my friends. Remember the fee for the show, too.
Mm-hmm. Gotta tell a friend.
If you found some journey, if you found some
value in it. Yeah. I mean, it's much easier to go down the path when you have someone to walk with.
Yep. So tell your friends about us, and we will see you on Friday for some Fi Friday feedback. Later.
Peace.
This video podcast is sponsored by Monzon Wealth. The content in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We do not endorse specific products or services. Past performance does not guarantee future results. The opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests, not the podcast sponsor.
It is crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor or professional who can provide advice tailored to your specific needs before making any financial decisions, investments, or taking any other actions. If you are seeking specified help, you can reach out to Chris at monzonwealth.com.